It's safe to say that neither JD nor I expected to find ourselves in this position. But it's hard to imagine a more powerful example of the American dream.
For years, Usha Vance stood by J.D. Vance's side, poised, private, never missing a step. But in one raw, unfiltered moment, the weight of political life caught up to her. On national TV, the tears came, and so did the truth. What finally pushed her to the edge? Let's find out. The power couple's public image. Well, history just got a new chapter. On January 20th, 2025, J.D. Vance took the oath as the 50th Vice President of the United States at just 40 years old, making him one of the youngest ever to do it. But that's not the only history-making moment. Standing right beside him, his wife, Usha Vance, who just became the first Indian American and Hindu Second Lady. Now, throughout the campaign, these two were everywhere, always appearing together at rallies, interviews, and public events. Their teamwork was undeniable, and people loved them for it. Some even saw them as the ultimate embodiment of the American dream. Small-town Ohio meets Ivy League brilliance. But, of course, social media had other plans. In the months leading up to the inauguration, TikTok decided to do what TikTok does best: stir the pot. Suddenly, rumors about their marriage started popping up, with claims of trouble in paradise. No evidence, no receipts, just pure speculation. And yet, the internet ran with it, proving once again that privacy and public office don't mix in the digital age. And then came the comparisons. The media started drawing parallels between Usha Vance and former First Lady Melania Trump. Both immigrant spouses navigated the intense spotlight of American politics, though their journeys were pretty different. Melania came from Slovenia and built a career in modeling before stepping into the White House, while Usha climbed the legal ladder as an Ivy League-trained attorney. But one thing they do have in common: both had to master the art of handling public scrutiny with grace. While the public obsessed over their image, few truly understood the woman standing beside the vice president. Usha Vance wasn't just another political spouse. Long before she became the second lady, she had already made a name for herself. Usha's extraordinary journey. Before she became the second lady of the United States, Usha Vance was already on a path to greatness. Growing up in a privileged academic household in California, her parents, both scholars, made sure she was surrounded by intellect, ambition, and a drive for success. And Usha delivered, big time. Yale Law School? Check. Cambridge University? Check. Landing a dream job at one of the most elite law firms in the country, Munger, Tully & Olson? Check. She was on track for a life of power, influence, and prestige in the legal world. Then came J.D. Vance, and everything changed. Now, their love story isn't just about two brilliant people finding each other. It's about two completely different worlds colliding. Usha, raised in academic stability, suddenly found herself immersed in J.D.'s Appalachian roots, a world shaped by struggle, resilience, and generational hardships. Imagine going from dinner-table debates over literature and philosophy to conversations about surviving economic downturns and factory closures. Culture shock? Absolutely. But instead of shying away, she embraced it, proving she wasn't just brilliant on paper, she was adaptable in real life. For years, she balanced both worlds, dominating in the legal field while standing by J.D. as his political career skyrocketed. But in July 2024, she made a jaw-dropping decision. She walked away from it all. Her resignation from Munger, Tully & Olson was truly a turning point. A signal that, with J.D. on the verge of a historic vice presidential run, she was stepping into a new role, one she never publicly sought, but now had to own. Now, as Usha redefined her path, J.D. was making waves of his own. J.D.'s meteoric rise. J.D. Vance's rise in American politics. Let's just say it's been nothing short of strategic, surprising, and, at times, controversial. Back in 2016, he was just an author. But not just any author. His memoir, Hillbilly Elegy, struck a nerve. It was raw, personal, and put a spotlight on the struggles of working-class Appalachians. The book made him a national figure overnight, And before long, he traded in the title of best-selling author for U.S. Senator from Ohio. And that's when things got even more interesting. See, Vance didn't start as a die-hard Trump guy. In fact, he was once a vocal critic. Fast forward a few years, he's not just supporting Trump, he's Trump's running mate in 2024. That flip wasn't just a change of heart. It was a power move that secured his place at the center of the MAGA movement. And now, as vice president, Vance is making his own waves. Take his stance on foreign policy. He's pushing a more isolationist, America-first approach, and it's already making headlines. In a high-profile Oval Office meeting, he called out Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, asking him straight up if he had even said thank you for U.S. support. Zelensky, probably thinking, "Are you serious right now?" responded, "A lot of times, even today." Of course, this turned into a huge controversy. Critics were quick to point out that Zelensky has repeatedly expressed gratitude for U.S. assistance since Russia's full-scale invasion in 2022. So, was this just political theater? A deliberate push toward a more hardline, isolationist stance? Either way, the moment highlighted a major shift in GOP foreign policy and Vance's growing influence within it. And speaking of influence, the guy is already being floated as a frontrunner for the 2028 presidential race. He dominated the CPAC straw poll with 61% support. That's huge. But before he gets too comfortable planning his next campaign, there's a catch. Trump doesn't see him as his political heir. At least, not yet. The former president made it clear that it's way too soon to start picking favorites. Still, Vance is making moves. He's asserting himself in policy debates, grabbing headlines, and solidifying his place as one of the most talked about figures in conservative politics. But with power came pressure. Not just in politics, but at home. Family under pressure. Being vice president is tough. Being a parent at the same time? Even tougher. For JD and Usha Vance, balancing the demands of politics with raising 3 young kids, Ewan, Vivek, and Mirabel, has been a constant challenge. Sure, they might look like the perfect power couple on the outside, but behind closed doors, real life doesn't care about titles. Take Inauguration Day, a huge moment. History in the making. But guess who stole the show? Not JD Vance, his kids. As he took the oath of office, cameras zoomed in on little Vivek, who was clearly over it. The viral clip showed Usha trying to keep him still, and honestly, parents everywhere felt that struggle. And it's not just big moments like that. Even before JD became vice president, his political career was already pulling him away from family life. In February 2024, he missed his son Vivek's 4th birthday. Why? Senate obligations. Instead of celebrating, he spent the day voting in Washington. Still, he made sure to make up to his son by reading "Oh, the Places You'll Go" on the Senate floor. Sweet? Yes. But also a reminder of the sacrifices that come with power. And the changes didn't stop there. With the vice presidency comes the Secret Service, and the Vance family's world has been turned upside down. Their once private home is now under constant surveillance. Trips to the park, grocery store runs, everything has to be planned, scheduled, and monitored. But as their public profile grows, so does the never-ending scrutiny. A casual handhold between JD and Usha is always overanalyzed. A playful outburst from one of their kids makes it to the headline news. You see, they've done their best to present a united front, but the pressure is real. Well, the weight of public life can be handled, until it becomes too heavy to bear. And in August 2024, Usha Vance let the world see just how much it was weighing on her. The breaking point. In August 2024, Usha Vance did something rare. She let the world in. Sitting down for her first solo TV interview, filmed at their Ohio home, she started off composed, polished, exactly what you'd expect from the wife of the vice president. But as the conversation unfolded, the mask slipped. And for the first time, people saw the toll that political life had taken on their family. The moment hit hard when Usha addressed a controversial comment from JD's past. The infamous childless cat lady's remark. The media had run with it, dissecting every word. But for Usha, the real frustration wasn't the phrase itself. It was that the noise around it drowned out a much bigger issue: the struggles of modern parenting. And for her, that struggle was personal. Then came the breaking point. Her voice wavered as she spoke about the sacrifices their family had made, how their kids, Ewan, Vivek, and Mirabel, often longed for their father's presence. She described birthdays missed, milestones uncelebrated, nights spent reassuring their children that daddy would be home soon, even when she wasn't sure when that would be. Some viewers saw it as a raw, courageous glimpse into the sacrifices political families make. Others? They weren't so sure. Was this a genuine moment of vulnerability, or a strategic play to make the Vance family more relatable during a high-stakes political moment? The White House played it safe. Officials quickly backed Usha's openness, while doubling down on the administration's stance on family values. Press Secretary Jane Doe put it simply: like many American families, the Vice President and Mrs. Vance are navigating the challenges of balancing demanding careers with family responsibilities. In other words, we hear you, we support you, but let's not get too dramatic. As for J.D. Vance, he handled it with the kind of response you'd expect from a seasoned politician. At a press briefing, he called Usha's strength and honesty admirable and acknowledged that, yeah, political life has taken its toll. A nice, polished response. But what does it mean behind closed doors? Because here's the thing, this level of transparency could actually change things for them. Bringing these struggles into the open might push them to rethink their priorities, find a better balance, or at least acknowledge the cost of the choices they've made. And then, there's the big question on everyone's mind: 2028. Did this public portrayal of familial bond just boost J.D. Vance's potential presidential bid? Some political watchers think so. Voters are hungry for authenticity, and Usha's willingness to show her struggles might make the Vance family more relatable. Even more interesting, could Usha herself become a behind-the-scenes force in shaping J.D.'s campaign? We've seen this before. Political spouses who really speak their truth. Just take Eleanor Roosevelt or Michelle Obama, who ended up redefining public perception. Could Usha Vance be the next in line? Only time will tell. Usha Vance's moment of honesty shook the public. But was it a rare glimpse behind the curtain or a calculated move? What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into politics and power.